Welcome to Adam's Ale. I'm going to get straight into it this time and start with our species spotlight on the ropefish, also known as the African ropefish, the snakefish, the reedfish, and you're hearing all of these terms that mean long and thin. Well, that's exactly what they are. Like rope, like snake, they are just super long and not very girthy. Very strange compared to the other polypetrus in its family group. He reminds me exactly of a snake with just a little fins on his neck, and they're so peaceful. Surprisingly, they fit into so many different types of tanks. Honestly, I wouldn't have an issue putting him into a community tank, provided that the fish that they were housed with don't fit in his mouth. So no nanofish, no small tetras, no shrimp, those would all be fair game. As soon as the lights go out, these nocturnal guys will come out and slowly start chomping away at your schooling fish. Otherwise, they can be kept with medium-sized fish in a community setting. Angelfish would be fine, discus would be fine, rainbow bosmanis would be fine, larger tetras, gouramis, all of that would be so chilled. Just check that it doesn't fit in their mouth, and that's a great rule of thumb. They would also be okay with bigger fish, so long as the bigger fish aren't too aggressive. Like, I can probably see an Oscar being too curious about what it is and then eventually bullying it to death. But otherwise, most big fish in my experience just tend to leave them alone. They don't seem them as territorial threats or anything like that. I'm currently housing my ropefish with a Jack Dempsey, a pleco, and some other polypetrus. Just checking, but he is the smallest thing in that tank, so he does get along fine, and he doesn't get outcompeted for food or anything like that. They can get to around 35 centimeters in length, which is very long. So long that I've never seen one that size. Mine's sitting around 25, which there is some room to grow, but I don't think he's going to get much bigger. Despite this very long length, they don't need a massive tank. I would say they'd be fine around 170 liters, which is still a big tank, but maybe not what you expect for such a long fish. I keep mine around 230 liters of water, which is fine. Bigger is better for fish, as long as you can actually find them in the fish tank. They prefer warmer waters because they are a Central African fish, and they'd be good from 22 degrees Celsius to around 28 degrees Celsius. I have found that they are very tolerant of water changes, of lows or highs, and of water quality. They tend to be in dirty, muddy waters and streams, so little mistakes in the aquarium aren't going to kill them. That's not an excuse to not look after your fish, but they can handle some beginner mistakes. They are carnivores, and I say that with a weird asterisk because I have seen them eat peas that I've put in for my my pleco. I think one of the fun things about this fish is that it reminds me of just a very large coolie loach. They're very similar behaviors in terms of how they move and the little cartwheels they can do in the tank. The wriggly behavior is honestly lovely to watch. I love my long boy, and my initial fear was when I put him with the Jack Dempsey that the Jack Dempsey would think it's like a worm or some kind of food and just try to slurp him up, but luckily that was unfounded, and they've been very friendly towards each other ever since, and he fits in very well in the tank that he's in. I know it's not your standard desk fish. I think most people would have gone with a shrimp or a beta or something like that, but it's my work buddy, or one of my work buddies. What fish do you keep on your desk or in your work area that you enjoy looking at while you're working? A good distraction if you may. I'd love to hear in the comments. But until then, I'll see you next time.